Well, today they had something down at one of the parks. It's called Sara Park, and they had a fireworks show coming up. And this is something that they do every year. And it's if you go there and park, it's $8 to park. So it doesn't matter, how many people are in the car. It's still $8 to park. But the thing about it is that it's very little parking, especially for the number of people in this town that are going to try to go to this fireworks show. So, plus I don't want to pay $8, just to be honest. So, there just happens to be, right across the street from this park, a campground. It's one of these campgrounds, it's called State Trust Land, where you have to have a permit, and that permit is $15. Well, I already have a permit, because the place I'm staying right now requires that same permit. So anyway, I thought to myself, well, what I'll do is I'll just go and I'll just park across the street in that area where everybody's camping. And then whenever, I'll just sit there and wait a couple hours, and then when it's time for the fireworks, I'll be in the perfect spot. And I also brought my drone, and I thought, well, this will be the first time I've been able to photograph some fireworks from the sky. And so it should be a pretty interesting experience. So I drove over there, really steep hill to get up to the very top, because I wanted to be at high elevation, be able to, see really well. So I'm driving up this hill, really steep hill, and the truck starts to slide back, and I almost panicked a little bit, but I was like, I gave it a little bit more gas, so the wheels spin a little bit, and then it finally catches, and then, I made it up the hill and I didn't slide back down. So that was the relief, the first thing. So anyway, I had time to kill. I had a couple of hours to kill. So I thought, I'm going to take this video camera out. I'm going to go pick somebody and just talk to them. Whoever's the nearest person by, I'll pick and talk to them, and then I'll share what they say with you.
I went over there when I first got here about 3 or 4 hours ago. It didn't look that full, but people have been steadily pulling in.
You see there's even a little ice cream truck there playing a little tune. That's actually a good idea. I noticed a truck drove up. It was kind of a small truck, small gray truck. And what was unique about it is that this guy hops out, and then on the top of the truck, he has it's a tent, but it's all rolled up. So he gets out and he just pulls a string or something, and this tent pops up on the top of his truck. So basically, in other words, the roof of his truck is the bottom of the tent. Does that make sense? So I thought, oh man, this will be something interesting I can show them. So I walked over there.
I have some string lights in there that I put up, and then I made that bed sheet for it. But yeah, I have a tiny 2-wheel drive truck, and I took it down this road here, which probably is a 4-wheel drive Jeep road, and it made it. The shit wagon made it through. Yeah, I think this summer though, I'm renting a house. So I think all the camping stuff is coming off and it's turning back into a pickup. I'm getting a school bus. I'm gonna do that up.
His name is Hemlock. I said, no, that can't be your name. It's good. I think it's a cool name. But he says, oh, it's my last name. I said, well, okay, that's less legit then if it's your last name. And Hemlock is a really interesting guy. I swear to you, you meet the most interesting people when you find people who just travel all the time, or finding people in campgrounds and stuff. They are by far the most interesting people, and genuine and good people usually. But anyway, he works for the Forest Service, and he only works a few months out of the year. I think he only works 3 or 4 months out of the year. And I said, well, what do you do? And he says, well, we do controlled burns, we start fires, and he named off some other things, but I wasn't paying attention, basically. So he told me, the things they do with fires, and he has some hobbies. One of them was archery, and we had a good conversation about just various topics. He's a tree hugger, He has a sticker on the back of his truck. This is Tree Hugger. And he also has, and I should have taken a picture of this and I didn't, he also has a sticker on the back of his truck that says, you know how you have the Trump stickers that say "Make America Great Again"? Well, he has stickers that said "Make America," environmentally conscious and blah blah blah. And it was like this long list of things that we actually do need in America. Exactly. I mean, right on the right page, with my thinking. So he was 26 years old, and so he basically sat there and talked to me while he was cooking his food. He made some potatoes and some chicken, but really interesting guy. And I said, do you want me, I recorded him, shooting his bow and arrow. And I said, well, if you had a social media account, I would be glad to send this to you. And he was like, well, I've never gotten onto social media. I don't have, I don't even have an account. So anyway, I would never have any way to contact him ever again. And, but yeah, really interesting guy. So ran into one person, and then after I kind of got tired of talking to him, you kind of get a feel when you're talking to people that you don't know, when they're ready for you to leave or they got something to do or whatever. And so I usually err on the side of caution. And I usually leave pretty fast. I usually don't stay very long, maybe 10 minutes tops if I'm talking to somebody new. And then, maybe later on I'll go back later if I feel like they're available. So I said, well, let me figure out the next person to talk to. I was thinking that in the back of my mind. So then, up at the top of the hill, I see this contraption. It's a truck, like an 18-wheeler truck, but it doesn't have a trailer on the back. So instead of having a trailer on the back, it has a hot tub. I was like, oh wow, I need to go do that. So I go up there, I walk all the way up this hill, there's two guys standing there and a dog, and I said, this is just, this is icing on the cake, because there's a dog right there. So I asked the guy, can I rub your dog? And oh yeah, and the dog was just licking my face, and the dog was just loved me. And so talked to them for a few minutes, and then, I thought playing with the dog would be my icebreaker. I said, so I see you have a really big rig here. He said, oh, it's not mine. So I spent this time talking to these two guys, hoping that I could, get a chance to look at the hot tub in this rig, and they didn't even own it. It's like, we don't know whose it is. We just happen to be standing here. So I'm like, okay. So I just walked up there and got a little quick image of the hot tub in the back, but I don't, whoever it was owned it. So then it's starting to get dark. I'm like, well, they say this fireworks is supposed to start at 7:30. So at about 7:15, I launch my drone up, right, into the air. And I go up like 300 or 400 feet, and I start going towards the field. It's like a ball field they're doing the fireworks in. And the Sara Park is not too terribly far from an airfield. So, it may or may not be illegal for me to be flying a drone in the area. So I'm very cautious as to who sees me launch this drone. I'm very cautious if I see law enforcement and everything. So it's now dark. I launch the drone. I'm sitting here looking at it, just waiting for the fireworks. The drone is up like 300 feet, just hovering. And here come 3 sheriff's people. Oh my God. Oh, they're going to catch me, confiscate my drone, and find me. And he comes up, he says, we're just checking to see if you have a permit to be on this land. We're checking everyone. I said, oh yeah. So I had to go find my permit. It was, it's an email. So I'm looking through my phone, and I hid the controller for the drone. So they have no idea I'm flying a drone. But the whole time I'm thinking, drones only can stay in the air a certain X amount of time, and then they have to land because they run out of power. And if they run out of power while they're in the air, you're screwed, because they're going to plummet to the earth, crash, and you're going to lose your drone. So the whole time I'm like rushing, trying to find this permit, in my email, because the clock is ticking. I'm thinking that drone is hovering at 300 feet somewhere. They couldn't hear it or see it. It was too high up for them to hear or see. And they had no idea I was spying a drone, but I was like thinking to myself, well, first of all, I got to hurry up. And then secondly, I was thinking, I'm so glad this drone is computer controlled and can fly itself, which is exactly what it will do. If you just take the controller and put it away in the middle of a flight, the drone will just stop midair and it'll hover and just wait for your next instruction. And it'll sit there and wait until the battery gets down to 20-something%, at which point it will return home and land exactly wherever it took off, because it remembers the GPS coordinates of where it took off. So I knew the battery wasn't low enough for it to come back yet, but it would have been funny if I'd been sitting there talking to, there's three of these sheriff's deputies, and then the drone starts landing. But I didn't get caught. So anyway, I pulled up the thing and I showed it to them. They're like, "Oh, that's great." I guess they were shocked that I had one, but I did have one. And so I showed them that, and then they walked off and went on and to the next person down. I was like thinking, get far enough away, because I need to bring this drone in, for to recharge. So anyway, they got far enough away. I brought the drone down, changed the battery out, and sent it back up. That was what I went there for. So I did record it, and I may consider going back. They said today's Thursday, and they said Saturday that's when they have the biggest show, the biggest fireworks, the most fireworks. So I may very well go back down there Saturday. One of the bad things about standing outside so long in an area where a lot of people are camping is the smoke. Everybody's got to have a campfire. It's just some kind of, it's a cultural thing. Everybody feels like, they don't feel like they're camping if they don't have a campfire. So anyway, my coat, my hair, my beard, my shirt, it all smells like smoke. All right, so that's it. And I hope you have enjoyed my commentary and the video.